Steve Harvey's decision to quit stand-up comedy spotlighted a hot-button issue that has the comedy world buzzing: cancel culture. And here's where it gets controversial. Harvey openly admits that the cultural shift around what's acceptable in comedy was a major factor in his retirement. But was it really just cancel culture? Or maybe a combination of things, including those infamous on-stage slip-ups? Let's dive deeper. During a recent episode of the Pivot podcast, Steve Harvey shared his perspective on why he stepped away from the stand-up stage after more than 3 decades. He painted a picture of an evolving comedic landscape where the rise of cancel culture started to cast a shadow over the freedom comedians once felt. In his words, change is inevitable. You've got to either react or be part of it. For me, that meant stepping back because cancel culture began to seep into everywhere, making comedy incredibly tough to do the right way. Despite having a lucrative career with countless shows under his belt, Harvey explained that prioritizing stand-up meant sacrificing family time. Touring every weekend left little room for a personal life, so stepping away was also a way to regain balance. He pinpointed his exit somewhere around 2012 or 2015, admitting he had to let go of stand-up to protect other areas of his life. Steve Harvey isn't new to critiquing cancel culture. Back in 2022, during a Television Critics Association panel, he emphasized how modern stand-up is shackled by the need to appease sponsors, restricting what comedians like Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, or D.L. Hughley can say. This sparked debates, especially when Dave Chappelle, who faced heavy backlash for controversial comments, still managed to headline a Netflix comedy festival. But the real underlying conflict isn't just about individual controversies. What Harvey and others decry as cancel culture often boils down to a fear of artistic stagnation. They argue for the right to speak freely, anytime, without facing consequences, viewing any pushback as an assault on free speech itself. However, not all comics see it this way. For example, Katt Williams, in a 2021 Joe Budden podcast episode, sharply noted that cancellation doesn't have its own culture. He framed much of the debate as minority groups holding each other accountable within their communities. Williams also stressed the importance of comedians adapting to society's changing values, comparing it to obeying speed limits. Unpopular, but necessary. On another note, Anthony Jeselnik frequently critiques those who resist accountability for their jokes during his performances. Adding another layer to this unfolding story, some comedians are finding themselves targeted politically during a turbulent time in the U.S. In 2025, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert was canceled, reportedly for financial reasons. But critics argue it was politically motivated due to Colbert's outspoken stance against former President Donald Trump. Similarly, Jimmy Kimmel Live faced suspension and rumors of permanent removal after Kimmel made relatively mild comments about the assassination of alt-right figure Charlie Kirk. Trump's subtle threats toward shows hosted by Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers only fanned the flames. This raises the question: are comedians suffering unintended consequences for simply doing their jobs amid political tensions? Yet, ironically, all this turmoil might be overshadowing simpler comedic staples, like jokes about pickup lines, that some say signal comedy's decline. For those interested, Steve Harvey's full Pivot podcast appearance features his cancel culture remarks starting around the 37-minute mark. This controversial topic remains a lightning rod, begging us to ask, is cancel culture killing comedy, or is it simply challenging comedians to evolve? What do you think? Are these cultural shifts necessary progress or threats to artistic freedom? Feel free to share your thoughts and disagreements in the comments below.